But it's interesting, isn't it, that thing about, you know, one bit of the arts is fine, but be somewhere else in it.
Yes.
You know, it's not.
Yes.
You know, I think I've been quite protected in terms of my working life, my background's in youth and community work and then social work. But actually, it's interesting, I now teach social work, and I remember, I teach values and ethics, and I remember one year, groups of students talking to us about, you know, what groups, you know, anything you have difficulty working with. They're like, gays, criminals and paedophiles. And I'm like, hello? Okay, you've just put me in that sentence, you know, and there's an issue that you have problems about working with criminals. What do you mean by that? And actually, when you talk about paedophiles, actually you're talking about people's fathers, uncles, sisters, it could be anybody, and it's not the stranger, and that's an issue, and we need to look at that because you all work with people who abuse children, and you need to be able to do that, and, you know, it's about how you do that, and if you block, but actually you've also put me in the same sentence, and it's something for you to think about, you know, and I remember a couple of years later, there's two students who'd been involved in that conversation who'd said, you know, we never meant to offend you, Sarah, you know, actually, I said, I'm not offended, I wanted you to think about your attitudes. And they talked about the journey they had gone on since that, because it hadn't crossed their mind, you know. I think, how can you miss me? But, you know, they had. But it's interesting, the journeys that people go on, but it's also scary that people don't always go on those journeys. And that, for me, is always the concern, that you have people who don't, you know, who work with people and aren't prepared to go on those journeys. And I've had stories about teenagers in foster care and the abuse they've had from their foster carers, and you think, that shouldn't, you know, how, you know, because they're gay, you just think it's scary that can happen, because it does.
Then, I don't know how old you are, but presumably you come from a younger generation. Do you have any of these issues?
I'm 31 anyway, so you can hold it. What, in terms of work?
In terms of just being a lesbian?
I mean, in terms of work, again, I'm in social work, and I think, again, it's very protected. So I've never had an issue. I don't even come out. I don't have to. I don't think people just assume anyway, so that's fine. And I am, I suppose, I'm quite loud anyway, and I always have a laugh with people. So I think people find it hard anyway to sort of attack me, and I've never had any issues at work at all. But what in terms of issues, in terms of what
clients? What about clients? Or
no, not that I can remember. No, I've always.
Some people are confused by you. I mean, that you walked into a classroom once, didn't you? And
oh yeah, when I was observing some
a class of 4 or 5 year olds.
Oh, children can be confused, but children are quite. But then it's not. It's innocent, and they just.
I know.
And they just.
It's funny though. Yeah. But he said, Is he a girl?
Is he a woman or is he a girl? People get confused about gender. I mean, that's the main thing, people not knowing who I am. And I think the worst thing is public toilets, because I always get thrown. I've had women, I remember in Ilford as well, and I went to the toilets in the exchange, and I had these women actually outside the door saying, there's a man in there, get him out. And it's just, and I have that a lot in public toilets. People come in and they do a double take and they go to walk out again, and do you know what, I'd rather use the men's. I think it'd just be a lot easier when there's a unisex toilet, because it is just so stressful using the loo. So I always make sure I've got like someone with me and they're talking so they can hear my voice, I can go into the actual toilet.
But you tried to get changed in Topshop, didn't you?
Yeah, it's more about gender for me, actually, than people actually having a problem with me having a female partner. It's once, they just get confused, and people don't like being confused more than anything else. So in changing rooms, I can't go in any changing room, unless of course they've got unisex ones like Gap or something. And then and obviously I wear men's or boys' clothing in Top Man. They wouldn't let me change in Top Man, so I had to go down to Top Shop, and and then all the girls in it, and it's just very, very awkward, that side of things. So where it's, I suppose, it's like gendered spaces in, that's where it's difficult for me, definitely. But in terms of work or anything, children, they say things innocently, but they're just, I don't know, it's fine as long as you sort of explain it to them. There's no issues in terms of work at all. So no, I mean, my work are really good, aren't they? And we do have obviously other out gay people in the building, which helps. And we have the posters up about the LGBT in Waltham Forest. Not quite as good as Islington where I used to work, but it's okay.
But that's quite interesting. I had a friend that used to work in your team, a few years ago in social work, and actually they were doing one of the first sort of assessments. I don't know if it was coming, it's for adopted couple or for a fostering couple, and they had no. I remember she phoned me up and saying, "Sarah, help! We don't know what to ask." You know. So whilst on one level there wasn't about prejudice, there was this like lack of knowledge and information about what kind of questions would you ask a gay couple? What would be appropriate to ask? Why would you ask anything different? Why should you ask anything different? You know, it was really, and you know, some of it was about fear about getting it wrong. But it's interesting that on one level, you know, completely, this was a mate of mine, you know, I've worked with her and no problems, we've been away together, no problems with my sexual orientation, but actually still wouldn't be able to translate knowing me and stuff about me to actually putting it into work situation, thinking about, oh, well, you know, I was doing this on Sarah, what would I be asking her? Why would I be asking her that? It was interesting, that kind of confusion, really. And I bet that, you see.
They've got training now for that, which is very good. They do. And we have had a few gay assessments, and I have done them actually. I'm the expert, and obviously now in the team. But yeah.
We've got 5 minutes. Anybody want to have a final word? Are you thinking of having children?
We are, but our discussions, I don't think, are around gay issues, really. There's a huge range of other things to do with age, to do with money, actually, financially, because, I mean, we can't just go into it the usual way, you know, and it does cost an awful lot of money. And interestingly enough, also about race, which is something really bizarre, but because you would like a race that would match us.
Well, that's my background as well in terms of fostering. It's about matching, and I think so. I want a child that, well, is us together, as if we were having a baby. So I want to have blue eyes and dark hair. We both got that, and that's what I want. And I think for the child, I mean, that's my social work background. It's about identity, and that's why it's important for me that the child is of the same. But that's different.
Yes, but so basically, there are a range of other issues. Really, rather than us being gay as a couple, or the impact. Well, it is.
The actual practicalities. So.
Yeah, the practicalities are, and leave and stuff like that, and we've got lots to discuss and huge mountains to climb and things like that. But we're getting there.
It doesn't have to be. If you can get referred, it doesn't have to be private. It doesn't have to cost you very much.
Okay.
There's something to bear in mind. And I would thoroughly recommend Homerton Fertility Clinic.
Right. Okay.
They were good, and I got a GP referral. You know, so that's useful to think about. I mean, there are other routes to go there.
Yeah. What's the discussion? Maybe you could get me safety team and lesbian, gay, bisexual and trans people.
What, Homerton?
Mm. I have a very dear trans friend, trans man who goes there to deal with his issues, and they've been very, very good.
Yeah. My only knowledge is fertility clinic, and apart from the counsellor, who was pretty appalling, who asked us what would we do if we had a boy. Take him home, cup his willy, and what do you think we're going to say? Just what we think. I mean, you know, that's what I wanted to respond to. Don't go there. But sorry, I just remember those conversations. But the clinic were very good. You know, so I think it's interesting that they've got pockets in that in the hospital that are really good, because I think it's important people know that, isn't it?